Gunter takes his work very seriously. He arrives at Sword Station 7:30 sharp every morning to collect the mine workers. In the summertime, it's bright and cheerful, but in the winter, the sun takes longer to rise. No matter what time of the year it is, Gunter always makes sure the workers reach the mine on time. One morning, Gunter was on his way home and couldn't help but notice a strange squeaking sound coming from his wheels. It seemed to appear out of nowhere, and he had no idea what could be the cause. Returning to the sheds, the other engines heard it too. "Does your driver know about that noise?" asked Peggy.
"I don't know. I didn't ask him. I once knew an engine who developed a sudden squeak. It may sound like something small, but one day during his journey, one of his wheels popped off the axle, resulting in a huge crash," he told.
Gunter was horrified. What if the same thing were to happen to him? Peggy, on the other hand, was quick to put him at ease. "Ignore that James Clifford. He's only teasing," she reassured. "Just inform your driver when he returns later." As usual, Gunter was alone during the afternoon. He was eager for his driver to return and inform him of the squeak. However, a sudden thought clouded his mind. What if a workman had to examine him? His train would be delayed, which means the miners would be left waiting at the mine. They wouldn't get home until very late. Thinking hard, Gunter made a decision. He will tell his driver after the miners reach the station. A very risky decision indeed. That evening, he made his way to the mine. To Gunter's surprise, the squeaking seemed to have stopped. Only his chuffing sound could be heard within the vast countryside. Everything was going well, but all was too good to be true. The squeak suddenly returned. Gunter was most annoyed and hoped that his driver couldn't hear it. Collecting the miners, Gunter passed over Kiltanna Bridge and was now on his way to Sword Station. The squeak continued to pester his journey. He wished nothing more that it would go away and never bother him again. All of a sudden, there was a loud snap. It didn't elude the driver, so he applied the brakes at once. Gunter was dismayed. Something serious had happened. But what? The driver and guard examined him to find out what was wrong.
"It appears that your eccentric rod has been dislocated. The crank pin has snapped," he informed.
Gunter felt awful. It was late, and the mine workers had an early start the next morning. He had caused an unfortunate delay.
"There is a signal box not far down the line. I will request the assistance of another engine," declared the guard.
Gunter was horrified at the suggestion.
"That would take far too long. The miners need to get home. And it's up to me to help them. Police driver, Sword Station isn't far away. Can't I try?
he pleaded. The driver thought hard.
The eccentric rod helps secure the motion of the piston rod as it enters and leaves the cylinder. If we continue the journey, we must do so very slowly,
he warned. Once everything was ready, Gunter slowly set off. The miners didn't mind the reduced speed. They were just happy that the train was moving again. The driver remained cautious, while Gunter tried to stay brave. He had never felt as vulnerable, but cleared his mind and tried thinking only of the miners. After what seemed like an everlasting journey, they reached Sword Station. Gunter apologized endlessly, but the miners were having none of it, and instead they thanked him for bringing them home. The next morning, Lord Starkey informed him that later that day a workman will fit a new crank pin, and he should be back to work no later than tomorrow.